Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, and we have an interesting card today. I think you're going to find it thought-provoking. So let's take some nice deep breaths to settle in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, allowing your shoulders to drop, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And we're just going to do a round through our senses just to ground ourselves. Good morning, Gwen. Glad you are here. Just did a little bit of breathing, and now we're going to do a round through our senses just to ground ourselves. So I'd like you to pay attention to what you can see right now. What's most obvious to me is right over the top of my phone is a light that's shining right in my eyes. So that's what I'm visibly aware of. What are you visibly aware of? What about auditory? What are you hearing? Good morning, Sue. Glad you are here. We're just doing a tour through our senses to ground ourselves and get ourselves centered before we do the card today. Good morning, Lucy. Good morning to whomever else popped through. There's 4 of you on right now, so someone snuck past. So what are you hearing? Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. What are you hearing right now? I'm hearing the birds out in the hedge next door. What can you smell right now? I smell my toothpaste. Good morning, Judy. Glad you are here. What can you smell? Do you have anything you can taste? All I have right now is water. I'll have my cacao in a little bit. Hearing the birds sing and looking at the sunshine. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thanks, Gwen. What can you touch? I'm noticing that I have one hand resting on the desk, which feels very cool and smooth. Good morning, Lori. Welcome. Glad you're here. And I have one hand on my blue jeans, so that feels different than the other hand. So just tuning into your senses, allowing them to ground you. Ground through your feet. Imagine those little trapdoors in the bottom of your feet opening and sending down roots into Mother Earth. Deeper with every exhale, seeing all the birds at the feeder in the sunshine. Wonderful. Couple more nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just settling in for today's card. Feeling the warm mug in your hand. Fabulous. Good, good, good. And think of the gratitude. Feel that gratitude for all of those beautiful things. The birds, the sunshine, the warm coffee mug. Good morning, Carolyn. Glad you are here. We're just going to start this day off on a good foot. And it's supposed to be a beautiful day all day. So I have a couple of commitments later in the day. I've got a discovery call with someone who might want to do some coaching. I have a session with one of my clients, and I have a meeting in Green Bay for our trip to Spain. We're working out some last details, so I'm excited about that. So it's going to be a good day. Just breathing into that. It's going to be a good day. It already is a great day. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Glad everybody's here. So our card for today, so interesting, so interesting. It comes from the Wild Harmonic deck. And I just caught a glimpse of this image, so I just want to share that one with you because that's just kind of fun. They've got a lot of cool ones in this particular deck. So Wild Harmonic deck by Gabrielle J. Maryhew. And our particular card for today, and I was appreciating this card deck this morning. Good morning, Mel. Glad you're here. Because I was talking to my coffee group yesterday. Good morning, Beth. Glad you're here. And I mentioned that I liked the little card decks where the cards are small because they're much easier to hang on to. I don't end up throwing them all over the place. And so what presents itself today? The Wild Harmonic deck, which is a little deck. Very easy to hang on to. So there's the image, human image with some of the chakra points highlighted. The root chakra, heart chakra, and the whole head. Looks like an eclipse. So this is the Dimensional of Celestial card for those of you who have the deck. And it's Victorious Silence. Wait till you hear the inquiry question for us to ponder today. I love this question. It's so good. Victorious silence. As the energies of the dimensional expanse embody into the celestial realms, they bring with them the reminder of where all celestial bodies exist, in infinite space. We are a part of that infinite space. We tend to put cages or boxes around ourselves in a variety of ways. I live in Appleton. I'm a mom. I'm a U.S. citizen. Box, 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 right? But we're in the infinite realm. We are a part of the infinite realm. The meditation: peace, tranquility, silence, transparency, and the letting go into the greater. So again, we are part of that realm. Love that. Victorious silence. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're letting go into that greater realm. And for some people, that gets kind of scary when they don't feel those boxed in walls around themselves. They feel too free. Practice. You'll get more comfortable with this freedom, this expansion, this all that is. This card points me to that which is behind all sound, form, light, movement, and so on. So it's moving us beyond our earth existence into that great beyond. I could call it nothing, but it is less than that. And it is silence too. It is space, allowance, and absolute openness. Space, allowance, and absolute openness. Silence is that which always is. Throughout the coming to be and passing away of the clamor of noise, silence is the space within which the noise can arise from and return into. Silence abides. It makes all possible, and when faced with any seemingly insurmountable noise, life, silence, stillness reigns ultimate in its unconquerableness. So that's kind of the same analogy as no amount of darkness can extinguish the light, but any small amount of light can illuminate the darkness. Okay, this is kind of the same thing. So here's our inquiry question. Cindy, if you wouldn't mind, you want to throw this in the feed so people can ponder it over time. The inquiry: what can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? What can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? And we've all had examples of that. One that I can think of for sure is painting. When we're creating artistically, we're painting, a huge piece of it is knowing when to stop. Knowing when to stop. And if we keep going, oftentimes we feel like we've wrecked it. So where is that point in your world? So I was working with myself on that yesterday. Instead of doing, what else can I do to move things forward with the intentional community, blah, blah. It's holding that big silent space for whatever's meant to happen. And shortly thereafter, the phone rang, and it was someone setting up a meeting that's going to move things forward. So how do we, yes, well, thank you, Cindy. What can I make better in my life by leaving it alone? There was something yesterday, too, that I made analogous to a dog worrying a bone. It just won't let it go. It just keeps going back and going back. We need to know when to let it go, when to create that big space, to hold open the possibilities, the potentiality, and not muck it up by doing. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about allowing? Instead of you feeling like you have to engineer everything, allowing. Being in that expansive space of however this unfolds, it unfolds. The Byron Katie stuff of loving what is. If it were meant to be any different, it would be. Here's where I'm at, so might as well love this. How do you feel about doing that? How do you feel about stepping into that space, the allowing space? How do you feel about that? Is that okay with you? Does that freak you out? I'm constantly having to step myself back into the still, quiet space. No, let it go. Allow. Just be where it's at. No pushing, no shoving, not trying to engineer an outcome. Embracing the process, letting go of the outcome. Got it sitting right there to remind me, because I can be that person who worries it into a state where it's not what it could have been had I left it alone. So, read the card again. First, I'm going to show you the card again. There we are, part of that infinite space. Hard for me when you're a planner and control person. Absolutely. And one of the implications of being a control person is that we are not in faith and trust. If we were in faith and trust, we'd quit worrying it to death. So practicing, good morning, Pat, glad you are here. Practicing our faith and trust is good. Allowing your husband to make his own decisions and just reminding him he can do, yes, absolutely. Hands off. Allowing other people their path. Who are we to decide how their path ought to go? We may think we know best, but perhaps in that muck and mire that they're creating for themselves is their huge life lesson they're meant to learn. Who are we to remove them from that, right? Let people walk their path. Allow yourself to walk your path. Allow yourself to sit beside your path, to just be on your path. You don't always have to be doing. I think, in fact, today I may go to the park and sit on the swing and just watch the water go by for a while. That opens up creativity, lets things flow just like the water. Yep, Cindy too. Most of us, many of us have that control thing going on. I have to hang on tightly or it's going to spin out of control. And the irony of that is the tighter we hang on, the more out of control we feel. The more we can let go of it, the more in control we can feel. Nice paradox, right? So let me read it again and just soak it up on a deeper level. As the energies of the dimensional expanse embody into the celestial realms, they bring with them the reminder of where all celestial bodies exist, in the infinite space. Again, feel yourself a part of that infinite space. Peace, tranquility, silence, transparency, and the letting go into the greater. This card points me to that which is behind all sound, form, light, movement, and so on. I could call it nothing, but it's less. Good morning, Peggy. And it is silence too. It is space, allowance, and absolute openness. Those are words to kind of cogitate on. Space, allowance, and absolute openness. That's what Byron Katie practices. Absolute openness. Whatever is meant to be, and I'm fine with it. Something to aspire to. Silence is that which always is. Throughout the coming to be and passing away of the clamor of noise, silence is the space within which the noise can arise from and return into. Silence abides. It makes it all possible, and when faced with any seemingly insurmountable noise, silence, stillness, reigns ultimate in its unconquerableness. So what that suggests to me, what was the other word in that list? Peace, silence, tranquility, silence. Let's look. Peace, tranquility, silence, transparency, and the letting go into the greater. Transparency and the letting go into the greater. So that last sentence gives us the answer. How do we deal with life's noise, all the stuff that impinges upon us? When faced with any seemingly insurmountable noise, silence, stillness, reigns ultimate in its unconquerableness. So our inquiry, what can I make better in my life? By leaving it alone. So, gives you something to think about today. Not a doing thing, a being thing. And again, that's what we're practicing. Bringing that online more, creating more balance. And more balance doesn't mean we all have to be equal in our doing and our being. For some people, they're just more doers. That's fine. Yeah, that card alone is almost worth the whole deck. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. For other people, the being occupying more of their time than the doing is the natural flow for them. It's us figuring out what's right for me. Most of us, again, have been so trained to override the being with doing, that we need to recalibrate. We need to figure out, okay, where do I fall on this? What is natural for me? Like, I'm probably likely to be a little more of a doing person than a being person. That's okay, but it needs to be much more in balance than it has been out of balance because of how we've been taught. All right? Show you the card again. There you are. Taking your opportunity to just practice this today, that victorious silence. stepping into silence. Maybe when you're in the car, you leave the radio off. Maybe when you go for a walk, you don't put your earbuds in. Maybe it's just sitting on your porch listening to the birds. Create some space for silence today. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including being in silence. Bye-bye.